I think we knew for a long time that we would eventually change the name of the church. Um, Not because we hated the name or had any qualms with previous administration, but we just didn't feel like it was relevant anymore to who we were as a church and a community.
When about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years now, me and Bob Snavely got together. He was the pastor who founded this church, was one of the founding pastors. And I asked him, and I asked this of all pastors if I can find out, why is the church named what it is? Because I like to build on it. And Pastor Snavely said to me that it was the community's name at that time, which was Valley View Community.
So they named it Valley View Church of God.
This is a journey that began, God had when me and Lynette came. Many times you talk about, a name of a church, what it means, and why is it the way it is. And I've always believed a church should tell you who a congregation is.
So I think we knew for a long time that we would change it, just not sure when God would place that burden to do so. Last year, we started to really feel the burden to change the name.
Probably since December, I started praying about this, October, November, and asking the Lord about, where are we going, where are we headed, what are we doing?
Our congregation has changed so much over the last couple of years. When COVID hit and we started online Spirit and Power Ministry, really the culture of our church changed.
And it's because what God was doing. We never intended to go this way. We never intended on this journey. But most great things by God is never intended by the person that's being led to do it. So as we began to pray and we began to seek, Lynette and I felt like there was a change coming. We didn't know what it was. And
we really feel like such a shift has happened in the last 2 years here that we felt like it was time. And we started to think about it, talk to Pastor Des and other leaders about what direction to go with a new name change. We kind of threw around a lot of ideas back in the fall and kind of just started brainstorming. And in November, we both started praying about it. I was driving in the car and I thought if I was going to name a church, what would I name it that people could connect to? And I thought, what does everyone want to know? Everyone wants to know, what is my purpose? Why am I here? And then it popped in my head, Purpose Church. What is your purpose? What is God's purpose for you? And so I kind of kept it to myself.
The Lord kept giving me a word in my head, and it was purpose. And I'm like, Lord, that's a dumb name. Now, you should never tell God it's dumb, but I mean, in my mind, Purpose Church. So I let it go, and then the next day I began to pray again, and the word purpose came out again. And I'm like, no, this can't be it. So then the next day I began to pray, and this was the last day of November, and the Lord gave me another word, and it was purpose again. Now, other names came through, but purpose just kept coming up.
And I went to breakfast on December 1st. We dropped Harrison off at school, and me and Sean went to breakfast, which we do that sometimes. And I sat down at breakfast, and I said, I've got the church name.
Me and Lynette went to breakfast the next morning, December the 1st. And while we were at breakfast, Lynette says to me, I know the name of the church. And I'm going, oh boy, I wonder what she's got on her mind. And all of a sudden she says, Purpose Church. And I said, you've got to be kidding.
And he said, really? Okay, what is it? And I said, Purpose Church. He said, you're kidding me. God had given him the same word in prayer. And he couldn't believe that I had not come up with, but God had given me the same name that he had dropped in his spirit. And we just really felt like that was confirmation.
But I knew the minute that she said that was God talking, because when we're on the same page like we were, God had a reason. We believe we're right in the center of the will of God, and this is a journey that's just beginning for Purpose Church.
I have felt like all along that God has been in this, and I have never we have been pastoring full-time for 13 years, but been in ministry for 23 years together. And I've never felt more excited about ministry and what God wants to do in ministry. I am so excited about this year, and I just know that this is going to be our best year, and God is going to do some amazing things.
And we're not changing for the sake of changing. Purpose Church is who we are. We've developed this about having a purpose, who we are as children of God, that He designed us from the very birth. He knew us before we were born. He knew us, and He knew His purpose for us. And our hope by being Purpose Church is that people will find out that God had a purpose from the very beginning, and it's a very important purpose. What we're doing is we're not creating a purpose in you. We are just asking God to show us the purpose He created you for, and we want to develop that in you, that God can change who you are the way He wanted it.